If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is December the 4th, 2023, and today the topic is Seeking Wisdom. It is Monday, y'all, so happy Monday. I hope that you guys had a wonderful weekend. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was cool overall. I might do a recap of my weekend, not tomorrow, during the after show, just in case for those that just came for the juice and don't really want to hear about, like, my, what I had going on or whatever. But if you want to know in a nutshell, it was a nice weekend, spread with holiday cheer. Some cool things happened over the weekend. Of course, the kids performed at the church. The kids' performance that I had played a part in creating, and I think all went well. I'll give you guys more details about that again in the after show, but yeah, everything went well. NJ did his role. He did a little bit extra too, but it's all good. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, y'all, let's get into this conversation in regards to seeking wisdom. I kind of feel like, once again, this is a continuation of some things that I was saying over the weekend. So I know I shared with you guys, I think it was Saturday, about, like, sometimes when I feel like I'm talking to people or we're having conversations and X, Y, and Z, and it's like they're seeking advice, but, and me having to learn how to let people have their own free will, grace, mercy, all that type of stuff, and go through their own journey, and things like that. Again, we can lead people to the water, but we can't make them drink, right? So we were kind of talking about that over the weekend, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't Saturday, then it probably was Friday. But whatever day it was, I mentioned something like that. Well, this morning I kind of felt like, again, this conversation is continuing that because at some point, I'm just doing my thing this morning, waking up, going through the routine, taking my time, all that good stuff. Listen to the prayer meditation, everything like that. Hubby went off to work. And again, like I said, I was just kind of taking my time. And then at some point, the phrase seeking wisdom came into my heart and mind. And so I'm like, okay, I could have overlooked it and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, well, let me go ahead and look into it and whatnot. And as soon as I went to openbible.info, plugged in seeking wisdom, obviously the verses, they were standing out to me, resonating, and everything like that. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm talking about seeking wisdom today. So that's where the inspiration came from. And so, yeah, let's get into it. I mean, I think the main thing that was coming to me as I started writing down the verses, because, I mean, one, it's not unfamiliar for me to share these verses. A lot of them I probably already shared. Who knows? I probably talked about wisdom and seeking wisdom numerous times since I've started the juice, right? But I guess what the revelations for today, or what I was receiving today that was kind of standing out to me, is one, this idea of seeking wisdom, but then acting as if we know, what to do. It's fair. I don't know, no shade to nobody. I'm sure I do it as well. So again, not trying to call out anybody, not saying anything about people that talk to me, not saying anything about any of that. I'm just saying, we as humans, it seems like some of us, because we can't say all, because then you'll be wrong. So some of us will go to someone, right, for wisdom, advice, whatever the case is, and then we don't want to accept whatever the wisdom and advice is. Now, hey, I get it. Everybody has free will to make your own choices at the end of the day. You can weigh the pros and cons. All advice ain't good advice. Everything like that plays a part, so I get it, But then it's just those situations where maybe you are getting some solid, good advice, you just don't want to do it, or maybe it's you just don't see a way, or sometimes we get in our own way thinking like, oh, that can't be, or it's not what I thought, and things of that nature. And I was reminded to again, I would say this morning as I was reflecting on everything, to again, I need to, if I'm going to be a believer and say I believe in Christ and things like that, that means I have to, again, sacrifice my desires. And that kind of resonated with me this morning in regards to, all the things I have been sharing with you guys, and even some things I haven't shared with you guys. Like I said, it just resonated to me to think about that because, again, again, I may think I know what will, make things all right in my heart and mind, but again, God has a bigger plan, vision. He knows the overall picture, and so I've also had to come to terms and be okay with things playing out differently than what I thought it was going to be. And I may not fully understand that, and I may not fully like it or want that, or whatever the case may be, but at the same time, again, knowing that God has a plan, right? Knowing that He's in control, and knowing that there's much more going on to life than me and my own journey and my own issues and things of that nature. And again, the things I do, the things I say, all these things matter, not only to me and my household and stuff, but then to our communities and stuff. I don't think we realize just how much of an impact that we have on everybody that has ever encountered us, and that could be either good or bad, and that's your choice at the end of the day, what you decide, again, to do with your free will. But well, in regards to seeking wisdom, here's some verses that were standing out to me. All right, so James 1:5, it says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. There's a few things that actually stood out to me this morning as I was reading and writing down this verse. Again, it's not an unfamiliar verse, very familiar with this verse, but the things that were standing out to me is one, again, I know it's just easy to say, like, oh, go to God for the wisdom. You hear that, and then you're like, well, how, and stuff like that, and you may not fully understand, like, how and all this type of stuff. Like, you might just get stuck just on the how. And, I mean, obviously, we know to pray, we know to read the Bible, things like that, but, I think we don't put value on those things. We don't think that those things hold weight when they do, one. So again, if you lack wisdom, well, one, you got to humble yourself to acknowledge that you lack wisdom. Because again, like sometimes when you talk to people or whatever, they come to you for advice, whatever the case may be, but then they think they know the answer to their issue. But then it's like, how do you know? How are you asking for the answer, but then you think you know the answer? So you got to humble yourself to acknowledge where you truly are. If you know what, I don't have wisdom about this or that. Therefore, I am seeking the wisdom. That's step one, really. Humbling yourself to understand that, hey, I need some wisdom in whatever area it is, right? And then acknowledging that God has all the wisdom. You can go to your friend, your mama, your everybody, you can go to other people and stuff like that, but they don't have the wisdom that God has. So ultimately, if you truly want answers, go to the one that knows everything. I mean, it seems kind of self-explanatory, but I know it's easier said than done because, again, we feel like, oh, we can't see God. All the different things or reasons that we could use as reasons why we don't want to go to God or don't feel like we can or whatever the case may be. But, again, if you're listening to the sound of my voice today, I hope that you're encouraged and inspired to seek wisdom from the one who knows all. Okay, so that was the first couple of things that were standing out to me about that verse. Then, when I kept going deeper about the verse, it says here, what stood out to me is the part that says, let him ask God who gives generously. So he says he's going to give it generously. But then here's the part and it says to all without reproach. I was going to look up reproach again because I'm pretty sure I looked it up before, but I didn't. So if you guys need to go deeper about the word reproach, feel free. But this is the part that really stood out this morning that I felt like was a little bit different. It says, and it will be given him. That's what I ended up writing down. And y'all could go check your Bibles and make sure it say it too. But in that verse, it says, and it will be given him. What will be given? In the beginning of the verse, it says, if you lack wisdom, let him ask God. And then if we go back to the end, it says, and it will be given him. So it's not a, well, I know sometimes there's some things in the Bible that makes it feel like, well, if it's God's will, or if you want to tell you, or, that type of thing. Of course, everything probably is going in that manner. But this verse literally says it will be given him. So I would say, hey, I hear people pray things to the Lord. They pray the Bible back to the Lord. I haven't really started doing that yet, even though it does seem intriguing and interesting. But this might be a time to do it. If you're seeking wisdom for the Lord and you feel like you ain't getting the answers, remind him of of James 1:5. Say, Lord, you said in your word that if I need, if I'm seeking wisdom, and if I come to you, you will give me the wisdom. That's what your word says. See how that works for you. But just something to think about. Here goes another verse, y'all. Proverbs 1:7. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instructions. Again, very familiar verse, not anything, extravagant or whatever. It's just, again, acknowledging the beginning, right? It says the beginning of knowledge. It's pretty much, it comes from the fear of the Lord. Now, I know they talk about in the Bible that fear of the Lord means respect, things of that nature. You guys can go deeper about all of that if you need to. However, again, even if it's not respect, let's just say, because I know they use the word respect in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, right? So even if it doesn't mean respect of the Lord, maybe even if it is actual fear, right? Well, first of all, in order to fear something, you gotta acknowledge it. So, and I think that's probably half of our problem. Like, we don't even acknowledge God these days. I mean, probably throughout human history. But it's like you can't fear something that you don't believe is there. So, obviously the belief and all that stuff plays a part. And then you're able to fear this God that controls all. Like, we got to put God in the position that he's supposed to be in. At the end of the day, again, if he created all, controls all, planned all this different type of stuff, that is a great being. That is, and then every single one of us, they say there's millions of people, millions or billions. I don't even know how many people it is on the earth. And I haven't been to all the countries that are here. And, you see the stars in the sky and all these different amazing, beautiful things. And if we understand and acknowledge that God is the creator of all of these things that we see, and even the things that we don't see, then, will there be some fear and reverence of this being? Probably should be, even though it seems like we don't fear God. Again, we don't acknowledge God and we don't fear him. When he's the only one, like the Bible says, can not only kill your body, but your soul, and things of that nature. And so, something to think about. If you, again, the beginning of wisdom or the beginning of knowledge comes from the fear of the Lord. That's the main thing that stood out there. So, Proverbs 8:11-12, it says, for wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare with her. I, wisdom, dwell in prudence, and I find knowledge and direction. So, it says here again that wisdom is greater than jewels and anything we could desire. Can we put that on the table? Like, can we receive that today? Like, it doesn't matter what it is you desire. Wisdom is better than that. And then what's standing out to me as I read it back to y'all is that it's saying here that wisdom dwells with pure prudence, finds knowledge and direction. So, what is it that you're seeking? At the end of the day, like, that being said, I mean, it reminds me of the question I was asking my husband last night. At some point, we kind of was just talking about different stuff, and then I was like, why do you think people talk to me? Because again, I've been kind of stumped sometimes because it seems like either people talk to me because they just want me to listen, um, you know, because I don't know if it's because they want my wisdom, or whatever I could bestow upon them and things like that. It seems like they do with the things that they say and ask and whatever. But then it don't seem like they do when, again, anyway. So what I'm saying is we had that conversation last night or whatever. He was naming some things that he felt like, was reasons why people talk to me, I guess, like me being a good listener, different things like that. And I mean, I can respect that. At the end of the day, sometimes we do just need somebody to listen to us. But again, like I was telling you guys the other day, like it's a little difficult for me to just listen to somebody, right? That feels like if you're in pain, if you're suffering to some extent, you know what I mean? Like if you got some stuff going on and, and it just takes some simple things to get out. Like it's hard for me to just listen to you and then just be like, okay, great talk. I would rather do something to assist you. You know what I mean? Do something to help you out of the situation. Do something that share with you what God has, put in me, to get me to where I'm at today and things like that. So, again, I'm finding balance with that because at the end of the day, again, I know that I am not Jesus the Christ. You know what I'm saying? And so people need Jesus at the end of the day. They don't need miracle, right? So I can acknowledge that, and everything. And so again, I think God has given me peace and joy and whatnot in the midst of these situations to be the listener for people, be that listening ear and things like that, and let it be from there. If they want some wisdom or whatever, or some advice or whatever the case may be, I try to do that and be that. And if they don't, I just be the listening ear, and that's still okay. But either way, I guess, again, that verse was reminding me of all of this. Because, again, when you ask yourself the question, what is it that you seek? Are you just looking for God to be that listening ear? And that's it? Because, I mean, your life will play out that way. If you don't want to go God's way, and you just want to tell him what you want and stuff like that, I mean, your life will play out. But then you'll be off track of whatever it was that he had established for you. And so to me, again, I say to all of you that it has been beneficial for me to lay down ideas of what I thought. And the interesting thing about that is let me, I guess, complete the thought here. Okay, laying down the ideas of what I thought my life should be and look like, for what God wanted my life to be and look like, not only has been more fulfilling, but then I find myself with the desires of my heart, right? With the ultimate goals and things that I wanted and things of that nature, because I put, again, my desires and things like that to the side, let God lead, and that's it. Like that is what's gotten me to where I am today. Place of peace, joy, even in the midst of tribulations, even in the midst of, again, the good and the bad of life, right? The ups and downs of life and things of that nature. Again, I'm not perfect. Everything in my life ain't quote unquote perfect, and everything like that. But, again, the beautiful thing about God is he's given me the desires of my heart, right? The things I truly wanted. So nice and joyful. That was the backstage baby, of course. But as I was saying, I mean, he's given me the desires of my heart as I trust in him, right? As I lean and depend on him, as I seek him, his will, his way, and try my best to do that, right? Then again, here I have the peace and everything like that. Let me keep going, because I know my little guy, my co-host over there, is trying it a little bit. He understands what the juice is, but at the same time, he be trying it. So, but anywho, Let me keep going. Cause see, like I just told y'all, everything ain't perfect, right? If everything was more perfect, look, I would have a whole studio. I would have a production crew. I would be in my own little glass box and, things like that. Like there, I'd be in a whole building, and my son wouldn't be walking in on me recording right now, right? But again, I can still have hope, peace, love, joy in the midst of the situation while I continue to record and continue to push through and to share the things, again, that God has shared with me. And I hope, again, that these things encourage and inspire you. Let me give you guys some more verses here. We got James 3:17. It says, but the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, upright and sincere. So this is, again, the wisdom of the Lord. Like, this is the type of, I think majority of us want this type of wisdom. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, and everything like that. But that sounds like a beautiful thing to me, the wisdom that's described in the verse that I just read.
Mommy, look, my earphones fit on me.
So,
see? Like it?
So, NJ, listen. Mommy's recording, okay? I got one more verse, y'all. Got one more verse, okay? Oh, no, I don't. Oh, I got the Bible verse of today. So basically, I guess to wrap this conversation up in regards to seeking wisdom, it's one thing to seek the wisdom, and that's a beautiful thing, right? You talk, you seek the wisdom, but it's a totally different thing to apply the wisdom. So hopefully you're encouraged and inspired to not only just seek wisdom, but apply it, and ultimately understand that the greatest source of wisdom is the Lord, and that is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Isaiah 40:31. It says, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, that juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.